Sign 3. Your eyes show depth wisdom. You ever notice how some men don't have to say a word, yet they can hold your attention just by looking at you? It's not about having a certain eye color or perfect symmetry. It's about something much deeper. It's about the weight behind the eyes. In Stoic philosophy, the eyes are more than just physical features. They reflect the mind, the soul, and the experiences a man has been through. That's why older men often develop something that younger guys simply don't have: depth. A calm, knowing gaze that signals experience, wisdom, and a life truly lived. Think about some of the most respected men in history. They weren't always the loudest, but their presence could be felt, often through nothing more than their eyes. They didn't dart around nervously. They didn't seek approval with every glance. They simply observed. And that's what made them powerful. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." That wisdom, it shows in your eyes. A man who has seen life, who has faced hardship and come out stronger, develops a gaze that others notice. So how do you know if you have this? People tend to hold eye contact with you longer than usual. They're drawn in, even if they don't realize why. You don't avoid eye contact out of insecurity. You look people in the eye naturally, calmly, without trying to overpower them. Your eyes don't give away desperation or approval seeking. Instead, they reflect a man who's been through life's ups and downs, and yet he remains unshaken. You observe more than you speak. You take in the world, process it, and only respond when necessary. This type of eye contact is rare. Most people are constantly distracted, insecure, or looking for validation. But when a man has developed a steady, unshakable gaze, it's powerful. It shows that he's in control, not just of himself, but of how he interacts with the world. Want to develop this further? Here's something simple yet effective. Practice stillness. Instead of constantly shifting your focus, darting around, or reacting impulsively, train yourself to be still. When you speak to someone, hold their gaze without fear. Not in an aggressive way, but in a calm, unwavering way that says, "I see you, and I'm not intimidated by anything." When your eyes reflect wisdom, experience, and depth, people can't help but notice. And that's what makes you infinitely more attractive without you even realizing it. Now let's move on to the next sign. One that's all about how you present yourself to the world. Sign 4. You have a well-groomed, distinctive look. There's a certain type of man who walks into a room and instantly commands respect, not because of how traditionally handsome he is, but because he looks put together, well-groomed, sharp, like a man who's in control of himself. And here's the key. It's not about following trends or dressing to impress others. It's about owning your look and presenting yourself in a way that reflects your character. The Stoics believed in controlling what you can and letting go of what you can't. And one of the things you absolutely can control is how you present yourself. It's not about vanity, it's about self-respect. Marcus Aurelius himself emphasized the importance of discipline and order, even in small things. He understood that the way a man carries himself, his posture, his grooming, his style, affects the way he moves through the world. So how do you know if you have this? You don't neglect grooming. You keep your hair, beard, and skin in check, not to impress, but because you take pride in your appearance. Your style is simple but intentional. You don't chase trends. Instead, you wear what fits your personality, what enhances your look, and what makes you feel good. You embrace your unique features. Maybe you've got some gray in your beard. Maybe you have a rugged look, whatever it is. You own it instead of trying to hide it. You have presence in the way you dress. whether it's a well-fitted jacket, a signature accessory, or just the way you carry yourself. People can tell that you've put thought into your appearance. One of the biggest mistakes older men make is assuming that looks don't matter anymore. But here's the reality. It's not about trying to look younger. It's about looking like a man who has his life together. Take a moment to think about some of the most respected older men, whether they're actors, world leaders, or even just men you admire in your own life. They don't dress like teenagers. They don't chase fashion trends. Instead, they have a distinctive look that suits them, one that tells the world they know exactly who they are. If you want to enhance this even further, start by simplifying your style. Stick to classic, well-fitted pieces. Keep your grooming sharp. And most importantly, don't try to be someone you're not. Embrace your features, your age, and your natural masculinity. Because when a man looks put together, when he owns his appearance without trying too hard, that is naturally attractive. And if you've got that, trust me, you're already standing out more than you realize. Now, let's move on to the next sign, one that separates truly attractive men from those who are just seeking validation. Sign 5. You are unbothered by external validation. You ever notice how the most attractive men are the ones who don't seem to care whether they're attractive or not? There's something undeniably powerful about a man who isn't seeking approval, who isn't desperate to be liked, and who isn't constantly adjusting himself to fit other people's expectations. That's because real confidence, the kind that draws people in, is rooted in self-sufficiency. And that's exactly what Stoicism teaches. The Stoics believed that a man's worth should never be dependent on the opinions of others. Epictetus said it best. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, stop worrying about what people think of you. The moment you stop chasing validation, you become more powerful and, ironically, more attractive. Think about it. Most people spend their entire lives trying to impress others. They seek attention, they crave praise, they change who they are just to be accepted. But the man who doesn't care, the man who walks into a room and doesn't need anyone's approval, that's the guy who naturally commands respect. So how do you know if you have this trait? You don't try to be liked. If people admire you, great. If they don't, it doesn't affect your sense of self. You don't chase trends or opinions. You have your own tastes, your own views, and you don't feel the need to conform. You aren't easily offended or rattled. If someone criticizes you, it doesn't throw you off. You take what's useful and discard the rest. You walk away when necessary. You don't cling to relationships, friendships, or social circles that don't serve you. If something isn't right, you move on. This type of unshakable self-assurance is one of the most magnetic traits a man can have. Why? Because it signals strength. And strength, whether physical, mental, or emotional, is deeply attractive. If you want to develop this even further, practice this simple Stoic exercise. Detach yourself from praise and criticism equally. If someone compliments you, appreciate it, but don't depend on it. If someone insults you, acknowledge it, but don't let it shake you. When you stop letting external opinions dictate your self-worth, you become untouchable. And the irony. The moment you stop seeking validation is the moment people start noticing you more. That's the paradox of attraction. Those who don't try to be attractive often end up being the most compelling. Now let's move on to the final sign, one that ties everything together and separates truly great men from the rest. Sign 6. You are kind, but unshakable. There's a massive difference between being nice and being good. A lot of men think that being overly agreeable, constantly accommodating, and always saying yes makes them likable. People don't respect pushovers. The most attractive men, the ones who leave a lasting impression, are the ones who balance kindness with strength. And that's exactly what Stoic wisdom teaches. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, was known for his discipline, wisdom, and fairness. He ruled an empire, yet he never let his power make him arrogant or cruel. He was strong but compassionate. He understood that a great man must be both firm and just. So how do you know if you embody this trait? You treat people with respect, but you don't let them walk all over you. You're kind, but you have boundaries. You're patient, but you don't tolerate nonsense. You give people the benefit of the doubt, but you don't entertain manipulation or disrespect. You stand your ground without being aggressive. You don't need to yell or threaten. You simply don't bend when it comes to your values. People trust you because you're consistent. You're not a people pleaser, but you also aren't cruel. People know where they stand with you. This balance, being both kind and unshakable, is one of the most powerful traits a man can have. It makes people respect you, admire you, and want to be around you. It shows that you are a protector, a leader, and someone who cannot be swayed by pressure. If you want to cultivate this even more, start by setting firm personal boundaries. Decide what you will and won't tolerate in your life. The moment you start enforcing those boundaries without anger, without over-explaining, people will start seeing you in a different light. They'll sense your strength, your certainty, your quiet power. And that's attractive. Final thoughts. Attraction isn't about youth, perfection, or trying to fit into society's ever-changing beauty standards. It's about presence, confidence, and the quiet strength that makes people take notice without you even trying. The truth is, most men never realize how attractive they actually are. They get caught up in self-doubt, comparing themselves to unrealistic ideals, never stopping to see what truly makes them stand out. But when you embrace the qualities we've talked about, when you stop chasing validation, when you own your presence, when you carry yourself with quiet confidence, you become magnetic in a way that goes far beyond looks. And here's the best part. This kind of attraction doesn't fade with age, it grows. It sharpens. It becomes undeniable. So stop questioning yourself. Stop assuming you're just average. Because the way you move, the way you think, and the way you carry yourself already set you apart more than you know. Own it. Step into it, and watch how the world responds.